and welcome to I Love the Library. My name is Lisa Trana and I'm the Public Services Supervisor here at the Detroit Lakes Public Library. And with it being October and also fall, in case this airs in November as well, I'd like to recommend some of our new suspense and mystery books. And I've included a combination of cozy mysteries and some not so cozy mysteries within this list. The first one I'd like to talk about is Bruno's Challenge and Other Stories of the French Countryside by Martin Walker. This is the perfect mystery book for you if you don't have a lot of time, as it's broken up into 14 different short stories, and all featuring Bruno, Chief of Police, which there's a whole series about him if you'd like to read it. And it's a fun mixture of food, history, and cozy mystery solving, and some of the stories involve cafe owners taking manners into their own hand, or a tour bus company getting sabotaged, or a case of even just stolen oysters. So it's a perfect book if you don't got a lot of time and just want a little bit of a cozy mystery read. Next up, we have Murder on an Irish Farm by Carolina O'Connor. It's the 8th book in the Irish Village mystery series. However, it is said that you can start with reading book 8 and you're only going to be missing a little bit of the family dynamics and like the romance building, of course. So in this book, Sabone and Macdara are getting married, and on the day of their wedding, Sabone's brother is missing, and James, the brother, happens to just rush into the wedding and being like, I found a body! And Sabone and Macdara, of course, are like, okay, well, we should probably stop the wedding and go investigate this body. They discover what ends up being an old cold case mystery, which this cold case starts to heat up a bit when a new body appears on the skeleton of the old body the next day. So will Sabone and Macdara be able to solve the murders before anyone else gets hurt? And will they finally be able to get married? Find out in A Murder on an Irish Farm. Next up, we have Peril on the Page by Margaret London. Penelope Parrish is ready to stop being an amateur sleuth, or so she says, and she wants to focus on writing her books. However, when an author is murdered in her local bookstore, it's up to Penelope and the rest of the town villagers to help find the murderer. It's a perfect cozy mystery, complete with tea rooms and castles in England. It just sounds like a lovely book to read on a slightly cold or rainy fall day. Next up, we have Havana Highwire by John Kenzie Walker. Henry Gore, who is originally from the Midwest, is now a private investigator in Havana, Cuba, and he's hoping to make his career of being a private investigator of taking pictures of cheating husbands to help finance his permanent vacation in the wonderful land of Havana. However, when he takes a picture of the wrong guy, Henry is suddenly in trouble with the mob in Havana. The mob threatens to revoke his PI license, and Henry then decides to dive into some work that actually ends up being even more risky, which is working with a military regime. And will his latest work actually help him or just plunge him into even more danger? Find out in this book. Next up, we have Daughter of the Morning Star by Craig Johnson. This is the 17th book in the Walt Longmire series, and it is recommended to start with book 1 in the series, but you probably could get away with reading this one without having read the others. There just might be some things that wouldn't make sense. The niece of a tribal chief, Lolo Long, has been receiving death threats, and Lolo has asked Longmire and Henry to help investigate not only the death threats, but also the disappearance of the sisters of the niece who disappeared a year ago. Will Longmire and Henry be able to discover who's been sending the death threats, and will they be able to solve the mystery of the sisters' disappearance as well in this book? You have to read and find out. Next up, we have The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. Ray McMillan has grown up being black in rural North Carolina, and he has a dream of becoming a world-class professional violinist, which you might think this doesn't sound like a start of a mystery book. But, however, he discovers his great-great-grandfather's old fiddle is actually a priceless Stradivarius violin, and with that he's able to succeed in his dream of being a violinist, and he enters the world competition of the Tchaikovsky competition. However, the night before the competition, his violin is stolen and a ransom note is left. So Ray will need to solve the clues of who took his violin to get it back before it's too late, and so that he can also enter the competition. Lastly, I have Billy Summers by Stephen King. We couldn't have a list about new suspense and mystery books without including a Stephen King book. Billy Summers is the best guy for the gun for hire in the business, but Billy has a stipulation regarding his jobs that he takes. The target has to be a really truly bad guy. And Billy wants to retire from being a hired gun, but it requires one last job. And of course, this one last job, absolutely nothing goes right. So, and also according to the description of this book features one of the most compelling and surprising duos in Stephen King fiction. Thank you so much for watching I Love the Library, and we hope to see you soon checking out some of these books.